Wow, historical moment now. Historical moment as Bitcoin is about to break the new all-time high. But is it just going to be a quick fake out, like, a bull trap, get everyone involved with a double top or a triple top, if you want to call it, and then we go down, like a lot of the bears are saying, or it will be a blow-off top, a new all-time high? I've been calling for a blow-off top for quite a while now. Nothing's 100%, but that's update, right? Because I always give probabilities. I say that I lean towards a blow-off top, but let's look at the probabilities. What are the odds of a blow-off top now? So first of all, first thing we can see is that this, if you're going to set up a trap for a double top, you might call that a triple top, but it's really a double top here because this was a real decline, right? That tested the resolve of the bulls, and then you have another move down like this. That would be a real double top in my mind. So usually, how would it play out if a double top was to play out here? The way they would usually do it in crypto, not necessarily in stocks, but in crypto, is to make you think that they've broken through. So it needs to at least get above 109.3 here. It would go to something like 110, 111, 112, and you think, oh, wow, we're going to close above 112. Could even close there for one day, right? Because a wick above and then come back is too obvious. It could even close there for one day, and then everyone thinks, oh, it's we're going for a new blow-off top. We're going to 150K, and then boom, it turns down. I'm not saying that's the scenario I have in mind, but I'm saying if I have to do it in crypto, that's how I would do it. Because look at this. This is how they played this game last time. Look at the double tops they engineer. And it's mainly Binance guys doing this because, let's face it, they're like 85% of the market's volume. Okay, look at this. Last time they engineered double tops, right? So basically here, you could even call that kind of a double top or a triple top. Goes just a little bit higher each time, right? Makes you think it's broken through. Then boom, big or mini bear market starts. This time, okay, this is 2021, 64K, then 69K, boom, then it goes down. And even here, you could say this is like, this was what, 67K? And then 69K, and then boom. So basically, it always takes out the previous top by a little bit, just enough to make you think, oh, with even a close, look at this, look what I said, even a close above, right, at the new all-time high. Close above at the new all-time high. Close above at the new all-time high, and then it turns down. In fact, doesn't this look like familiar, look like what we just had with the 108K, this was 67K and 69K ultimate top of 2021 bull run. But doesn't this look like the 108K and 109K top we just had? Keep this picture in mind. Now look at this. Now look at what happened here, right? What happened here? This was 108K and then 109K. Well, no close above, right? No close above, in fact, a topping tail. But they like to do this and then for a big drop. So I'll show you one more. Even here, we all knew that the old top was 69K back in 2021 bull run. And here it goes to 73K, right? Just pierce that top, makes you think, yep, we're going for a new big bull run, and then boom, big pullback to 49K for 4 or 5 months. But what will happen here? Will the same thing happen here? I'm not necessarily saying this will happen. I'm just pointing out this is the pattern that these Binance market makers like to play. They're the games they like to play with you. Before we answer that question though, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo use? Well, Pablo uses this exchange that is non-KYC. That means you don't need to show your ID. That means even the exchange can't see who you are. Of course, then Americans can use this exchange, right? So I've made this deal with them. That's the link. Just by depositing, receive up to 200 USDT. Trade it and win up to 35,000 US dollars, right? Limited time only until June the 4th. Chance to win a Tesla Model 3, Rolex watch, Apple Vision Pro, Sony, just by trading. Okay, but remember, if you're watching on YouTube, then the link is in the description below. Link is in the description below. If you're watching it on another platform, such as this one, then basically just click on the profile page. Click on my profile page and then just go to my Stan link, and it should be the first thing that pops up in the Stan link. And let's get back to the markets. First thing that pops up in the Stan link. Okay, so one of the biggest things I've said so far is that we probably wouldn't get a real pullback. And one of the reasons is because of this, right? So I did say, I think we get to somewhere like 96, 97K and we get a pullback to retest 92K. This 92K area with the lowest support I see at 88.5. We only got to 92.7 or 93K there. So nowhere even near, right? It was a very small pullback. And then after that, I basically just said, look, I think we're not going to get these 10% big one-day flushes, like kind of like the these kind of days. People were expecting these kind of pullbacks. I said, we're not going to get that. The reason is because I kept on pointing back to this chart. Even I'm sick of showing you guys this chart. You're sick of seeing this chart because it's mostly black and at least 1/3 of it is green. And yesterday I looked at this chart, it was actually mostly green. Means most people were still shorting. Most people, it's just simple as that. Basically, it's Binance, those exchanges out there, the really big one, that is trading against you. If you are, most people are shorting here, and still shorting here now, then if Binance lets it go down to, say, 92K, then these shorts are going to make like 30x, 50x on their trade because they're using, high leverage. So, and who loses in that case? Who pays that 30x, 50x? Binance does. So Binance doesn't want to pay that, so Binance keeps the price up, right? The only way it goes down is if the stock market has a shock drop because of some Trump tweet. That's the only chance. A black swan moment like that, like what we had on April the 2nd, unless something like that happens, we're not going to have a massive 10% in one day drop. A 10% in one day drop would take us down to like 95K, something like this, right? Something like one of these days, one of these days, yeah. So basically, after we didn't get that 92K retest, I've basically been saying, I don't think we're going to get those big drops. I think it's just going to meander its way up. It's basically going to go up, consolidate, and even consolidate upwards, go up, consolidate upwards, go up, consolidate sideways or upwards, and then go up. So here, I don't think we get a real pullback until at least about 112, 113K area. Why is that? Well, one, I just told you guys that we need to pierce the previous high of 109K by about 2 or 3K. Get to 112, 113, make everyone start cheering again before the next big drop. And that is also provided. We need like two elements for that to happen. One, to get everyone fooled into thinking a new big leg up is starting immediately, and get everyone to FOMO in at 112K. 111, 112K, 113K, roughly around there, just like 3K above the old high of 109K. And if everyone goes long there, if we see this thing go red, if we see this thing go red, when Bitcoin goes to 112K, 113K, and then the chance of a 10% pullback down to 100K is much larger, because we need everyone to go long when it gets to about 112K. And I'll show you one more reason why that 112K is a key number to watch, because of, look at this. Do you guys remember, whether you're in Discord or in my watching my videos, that I said 109K would be a very strong resistance, and it's because of this line. If we draw a natural chart, this is not a log chart, but if we draw a natural chart through the last 2 or 3 major tops, you have the 2017 top. It looks tiny now, but this is for Bitcoin. This is the 2021 top of 64K, 69K. I said if we draw that line out, we get to 109K, 108K area. Now I didn't know that was going to turn out to be the exact top. I just said, look, this is probably one area to watch out for, and it turned out to be a significant top, right? There were other warnings as well, and that's why I said, let's play 50% defense, right? Look, I wish I said 100% defense, and I'm 100% sure this is a bear top, whatever. I didn't, all right? But I at least did warn Watch out for this line here, very significant trend line, and it tops at 109K here. So now let's have a look at it again. Here, where does this top at? This time, this line, let me just put it on weekly chart so folks can see it better. This time, it gets to here. It gets to here, which is what? 112.7. So roughly the 112, 113K area that I've been talking about. So if we get to there again, we're asking for Bitcoin to ignore this massive trend line, this massive, not log scale, but natural scale. If we use natural scale trend line from the last, from 2 bull runs ago, from 2017, for the last 8 years, and just break through. So 2 scenarios can happen here. One is hits here and it has a decent drop. Everyone goes long. The crypto funding rates, this one I showed you guys, this one turns red and everyone goes long, then we very likely have at least a 10% pullback. Or if everyone's still short, then we have maybe like a sideways cup and handle pattern, which is cup and handle, and then boom, breakthrough. If everyone's still shorting a lot around here, we could just have a short squeeze and go boom like this. So look, nothing is 100%. So what I will say is that I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you what to watch out for when we hit 112, 113K. Watch the funding rates. Watch the funding rates, right? I'm not saying up or down. I'm saying if the funding rates are red, when we get to 112K and very red, then I will strongly lean towards a big 10, even 15% pullback. But if we get to 112, 113K, and we are still looking like relatively green or mostly black, then there's a very good chance we don't have a big pullback. Then the greater probability, the 70, 80% probability is we go sideways and go straight through, or we might just punch through. So it's not up or down. It's basically look at the funding rates when we get to 112K. Not 109, not 108K, but 109K. So that's actually a very specific prediction. So, and of course, I'll keep you guys updated when we get there. Now let's have a quick look at Ethereum. Ethereum, for example, has slowed down a bit because it's had a big run. Ethereum has made a 2x run. Bitcoin from 70 something K to 107K is now like what, a 40, 50x run, but Ethereum has made a 2x run from the bottom. So basically it needs some rest, and we're wondering, well, is this the end? Is this the end for the ETH rally? What will happen to altcoin season? ETH versus Bitcoin, I've been saying that this was likely the bottom for the folks who are saying ETH is going home. I said, yeah, home is probably here because we are almost very close to a double bottom here. For people who are waiting for the actual double bottom, it doesn't come. That's almost pretty much a double bottom. And after this kind of a 2x run for ETH, which is pretty huge, then it's quite natural for it to take a breather here. Now, this looks somewhat like a topping tail, so it would probably get even a deeper pullback. But in general, in my opinion, it looks still quite good because here, I've spoken about this before on ETH versus Bitcoin, and on ETH itself, it's a U-shaped bottom, and then we have this big thrust here, right? A big drop down, U-shaped bottom, and big thrust, right? This pattern, just keep this pattern in mind. This is what I said about ETH as well. Look at ETH. Look at ETH itself. Here we go. So yeah, here we see that was ETH versus Bitcoin we saw just then. Now this is ETH itself. I said we have this U-shaped bottom, sideways consolidation, and then big thrust up. So when we had this, I said ETH looks pretty good. We're going much higher. That's because this was coming from Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin, remember the classic bottom for Bitcoin was, whoops, let me just get that back again. And when we look at this ETH bottom, it looks almost exactly the same. Sorry, this is a Bitcoin bottom. This is the Bitcoin major bottom at the end of 2022, around 15K. Look, basically big drop, U-shape consolidation, bottom, U-shape bottom, big thrust up, and then boom, off we go. And then all the run up to 109K now. Okay, so crucial times now. I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you for tuning in. Catch you guys next episode.